Oh dear.
1,000.
Yep, I'm very sorry. Hello everybody, welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today we're on the ground at Boscombe Down, which is an old RAF base here in the UK, and we're in Golf Tango Tango November Alpha, which is the Airbus A320neo from British Airways. What I'm doing today is another chartered flight. Thank you very much to Oz Austin, who has chartered this one today. It's a bit of an interesting flight, this, because we're going from Boscombe Down, which, like I say, is an old RAF base, so there's not really many departures out of here for commercial airliners that can be planned in, and we're also going to Gibraltar, which is a visual approach. Now, I have no idea how this is going to go, but thank you again to Oz for chartering this flight, and you too can charter flights for me as well, and that can be done via my website. There's a link in the description for that. Just make sure, or try to, because I know that not everybody's got the software, that there are approaches and departures available and that it's a commercial route, because this might get spicy and this might not go as well as you want, Oz, but still, thank you very much, massively appreciate it. And we're going to be flying not on VATSIM today, unfortunately, because knowing me, I'll get it wrong. So we're using my usual scratch pad and, of course, the procedures list for the fly-by-wire A320neo. So let's hop in the cockpit and let's crack on, shall we? Okay, so first things first. Why does it say the reg is AFBW? Because it definitely shouldn't be. How strange. Oh well. Still, first things first, we need to put the battery switches on and we're going to connect the ground power. You ready? Bang! That's very loud. Actually, you know what? I need to make a few quick adjustments to my audio here because, I mean, as you can tell, it's ridiculously loud. But I recently sort of reconfigured almost everything on my PC. I've got a new hard drive in, a new NVMe NVMe M.2 SSD, which is what my PC is running off now. It's a terabyte as opposed to the 200 gig hard drive HDD that it used to run off. But I've also got a new 2 terabyte drive in, which means I've now got an entire 1 terabyte drive, which used to hold all my games, not many. This one drive is now all for Flight Sim. However, in changing the C drive that the PC runs off, a lot of my audio is all over the place. So let me just turn this down a little bit and we'll get on with it. Okay, that all seems a lot better now, so let's carry on with the checklist. If I actually looked at the checklist rather than the scratchpad, that'd be great, wouldn't it? We've done the external power. APU master switch goes as required. Then we have the APU start. A few seconds later, an APU bleed coming on as well. Crew oxygen supply on the left-hand side. ADIRs go to nav up here in the top left. And then we will have the nav and logo light on, which is down here. Then the strobe lights are auto. Interior lights as required, that's absolutely fine, it's daytime. Seatbelt signs on, I said. And then the no smoking signs to auto. Emergency exit light arm, smash in. Landing elevation set to auto, that's fine. Cabin temp set. Fire tests complete, which are, where are they? These. Now in the real aircraft, you press those and it's a few seconds after until they actually start beeping. Fuel pumps on, left to right. And then we're going to have flight directors on, so that means we need to come back down here. Flight directors are on. And one thing I do want to add at this point actually is the injector, the FSLTL injector from fly-by-wire, just so we've got a couple of planes about, just in case. We're going to click no. I don't know if it's going to put any planes in with us. This is the freeware, by the way, for Boscombe Down. It's actually a really, really tasty little scenery. I had a little look around it before. They've modelled in all the buildings and the runways and stuff. And it's freeware. It's a very, very small airport. Obviously, it's an old RAF base, but there's a few little bits of kit about, and it's really tasty. Not sure if we would park an A320 there, but still, we've got our people on the ground. We've not got anything on from GSX just yet, so I'm going to start getting those on. Just see if it will give us
this parking
people.
Is too small for your aircraft.
Brilliant news. So we'll do request boarding, British Airways, and see whether we get anybody. Yeah, the GSX stuff has spawned in, which is good. So we can get people on at least, get some passengers in. Let's get the iPad on and see how many it lets us board. Oh god. No import possible. Ah, bugger. I forgot about this. Supposed to do that first. Okay, well we'll wait for them to get on with GSX and then we'll do the information after that. We'll do it within the plane, if that makes sense, on the iPad. We then want to do the fuel quantity check, which again we'll have to do in a minute. The barrow setup, it's not going to tell us the current barrow because that's not been imported. We're going to keep it on 1013 for now. Fuel quantity barrow, MCDU. Okay, so this could be the interesting bit because there might be a few things here in the MCDU that we cannot set up because, like I say, there's no official sort of departures or arrivals available for each of these airports when matched together. So we may need to be a little bit creative here. Okay, Boscombe down to LXGB. Let's get the 0 fuel weight in. Not quite sure if it knows what the block fuel is. No, it does not. Okay, that's absolutely fine. We're going to be at flight level 370 today. And we want to go into our flight plan. And we're going to be going direct to CAPEX. So as soon as we get out of here, we're going to go straight to CAPEX. And it will not let us get rid of that, which is brilliant. Well, we'll have to just tell it go direct CAPEX when we get out of here then, I guess. There's not many points on the way down. Yeah, look, we've got a discontinuity there. Because once we get to Ogro, we literally go straight into LXGB. So I'll show you. We go like this. Now we're on runway 27 today. So what I'm going to do is carry on in a straight line. I'll be descending at that point. And then we're just going to turn in and do a visual approach into Gibraltar. So we'll have to see how I manage that, because I've never done one before. But this is the flight today. Straight out of here towards CAPEX, we're just going to go direct. And we're going to climb, get straight up to cruise altitude. And then we're going to figure out where our top of descent should be, to be honest with you. I think it'll be about Disco. If we tell it to try and get down to about, I don't know, 3,000 feet by Ogro, we can then turn in and crack on by there. So we'll figure that out as we go. But like I say, there's no specific, you can't choose an approach and arrivals and so on by that point. But if I put in here that I want to be doing 250 at 5,000, let's actually clear that and do 3,000. If we tell that, I don't know what this means. Let me try that again. So 250 at 3,000. Speed constraint 250. No? Okay. Can we put that in there? Yeah. Okay, cool. So then, have we told it that there's a constraint there? And that we want it to play ball? Yes. Right. That's cool. So if I tell it to get down to 3,000 feet by Ogro, we'll see. We'll find out. We will find out, everybody. Continuing on the MCDU, actually. Do we need to mess with any of this? No, actually, because that's pretty much all we need to do. We just need to get our V-speeds done. So we're going to go flaps 1 for takeoff, flexi temp 45, as I always put. It should tell us, yeah, 121. We'll check these again once we've got passengers and everything on board anyway. But moving on from the MCDU, it's just time to get passengers on board. So we'll wait for all that to complete, and then we'll start our pushback and get ready to go. Oh, one thing I want to look at is where we're going to be taxiing actually today. So let's click this thing. We're on runway 05. Which is typically this one. So we're going to be going down here, left, onto Alpha Whiskey, or is that the holding point? We're on Bravo East, and then all the way down to the end, and then out on 5. Very, very simple taxi out. But yeah, it's not actually put passengers on board, has it? It's literally just putting suitcases on board at this moment, but that's absolutely fine. Okay, I'm pretty sure that that's all done then, boarding-wise. No. Okay, it says boarding still in progress. Eesh. It's been a few minutes and all the stuff's gone, so I'm not quite sure what it wants me to do. Oh, do I need to operate stairs and then is it going to do it?
Parking.
Is that because I didn't operate the stairs? That's why it wasn't putting passengers on. I'm sorry, Oz. I'm not very good at this, am I? Okay, so as you see, we now have passengers boarding the aircraft, so once they're all on and properly sorted, then we'll get the information from SimBrief onto the flypad, and then we'll be able to get everything processed. Okay, and there you go. There's the bong to say that all passengers are boarded now, so let's just try. Beautiful news. Beautiful news. Okay, so the air pressure is 1014 QNH. Fuel and payload is already imported. That is cool, so let's do instant for that.
Boarding completed.
Get everybody on. Fuel, bring that in. It is 7.5, so then we can go down to the MCDU and into perf. Sorry, in it. We can put in the 0 fuel weight, but it's 7.5 tons. Smashing news. And let's make sure that we get our V-speeds rechecked just to make sure. That's absolutely fine. Okay, cool. I think we will be ready for pushback in just a sec. Just trying to think. Right. So pretty much, by the look of it on here, we're all ready to go. So we'll do prepare for pushback and departure and see what GSX makes of it here at Boscombe Down. Oh, also with the initial altitude, I want to go up to 5,000 feet on the way out at the first waypoint. and then we're just going to climb from there once we get to, I think, is it Capex, the first one I've put? Yeah, Capex. Direct Capex out of here from runway 05. So let's tell GSX to...
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Know. Prepare for pushback and departure. Our little ramp operative will be here, ready to go. We'll see what he has to say for himself.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Good news. We'll get rid of the stairs as well while we're here. Actually, oh, okay. I imagine it'll do it in a moment when he's sorted everything out.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Cheers.
Locking gear.
Okay, as you saw there, now the stairs have moved away, which is good news. So I'm just wondering what's next. So nose left tail right, please.
Release parking brakes.
Shall do.
Commencing push.
Okay, cool. Right, so before start, beacon light going on. Where's the beacon light in this? Thrust levers to idle. Parking brake as required. And then the APU is on and the APU bleed is on. External power disconnected. That'll be that. And then we put the engine start switch to ignition. Now that's on my Thrustmaster TCA controls here, but I'll twist it and show you in the cockpit. That little sausage there. And we can get some engines started, shall we? Let's start with engine number 2. Okay, parking brakes are set. I think we may have hit a building. A little bit. Whoops. And we're going to start the second engine now. Engine 1, actually.
Unlocking gear.
Okay, so running to the before taxi checklist. Need to make sure that engine mode is back into normal. Flaps are set for takeoff, which is 1. And then we're going to arm the speed brakes. We're going to move the arm, funnily enough, at the same time. APU bleed comes off and APU master switch comes off. ECAM status is checked. Everything seems okay. Predicted wind shear is off, so I'm going to turn that on. Runway turn off lights come on. And nose light goes to taxi. And we will do a brake test once we get moving. And other than that, we are good to go, I would say. There's my guy. He's going to say goodbye and wander off into the distance. So we'll have a look then at where we're going to be taxiing. Like I said before, I think it's a pretty straightforward taxi, so we're just going to go along the apron to the right, take our second right, because there's a little sort of fighter jet bit there that's thinner, and then we'll go around here. I am going to taxi over to the right a little bit from this yellow line, just to be sure that we don't hit any buildings or anything, because we did clip that building a moment ago, and I had to just give it a bit of a shove to get it moving, but that's absolutely fine. It is all good. Thanks again to Oz for chartering this flight. As I've said, everybody, you can charter flights for me if you enjoy them enough. There's a small fee for it, which can be paid via PayPal. And obviously just give me the instructions of where from and where to. I would prefer it, if I'm honest, that there is a bit of a look at whether it's a proper commercial route or so on, because sometimes these can be a bit difficult to get planned if there's no actual arrivals or departures for the two airports that match up, but that's fine. We'll make it work either way. A little bit bumpy here at Boscombe Down by the look of it, but it's an old RAF base that's bound to be a little bit lumpy in places. Getting pretty decent frame rate today, actually, which I'm quite enjoying. Not normally getting all the frame rate in the world, but she's looking quite tasty today. I believe we're still running on medium like we were before. I think I run on medium, but I turn things like motion blur and depth of field off. That's pretty much all I do. And I have the anti-aliasing on temporal. Anti-aliasing, TAA. Right, let's call the cabin. Let's set the auto brakes to max, and then we'll do a takeoff config in just a minute when we're getting a bit further down this taxiway. Going a little bit quickly there, 25 knots. We're going to turn to the right. So this is, I believe it's called Bravo East, and then that's the runway there in front of us, but we're going to go all the way to the other end of it. We'll do a brake test on here as well, by the way. Yeah, they definitely work. Good brakes on the A320neo. While we're taxiing, then we'll have a look through the procedures list and continue. Before takeoff, we need to do the initial altitude set, which is 5,000. We've got that. Radar is required. Predicted wind shear. We're going to put this on auto, and we're going to go to TA only. We're going to set our squawk code to 2000. Eventually, flipping heck, we're probably going off the end of the taxiway. Yeah, a little bit. Auto brakes max, cabin crew advised, overhead panel checked, flight controls and instruments, flaps set for takeoff, engine mode is required, which is on normal at the moment. Transponder auto, we're on TCAS, TA or TA and RA. TCAS traffic, ECAM memo. Yeah, we need to just do that. Nose light to take off before we get onto the runway, and strobe light to auto or on. Cool. Taxiing all the way down. We'll do our takeoff config test now. Takeoff config normal. Smashing news. I'm pretty sure that Boscombe Down used to host the International Air Tattoo a long, long time ago. Either that, or it was just that it had a large air show at Boscombe Down, and then it was, I think it was Greenham Common that used to do the International Air Tattoo. There's the fire station off to our right. I remember seeing some great footage actually of the departures days at Boscombe Down on YouTube. There's somebody that's done a couple of hours worth of footage on all of the departure days from the air shows, and some of the takeoffs and some of the run breaks that some of them do. Run and breaks, I should say, that some of them do. I remember, I think it was a German Tornado, comes back, it takes off, comes back down the runway at about 10 feet, and it's just absolutely caning it. And the Canadian Hornets did the same. It was so cool. There's some awesome footage on there. We've got a bit of a speedy taxi going on here at the moment. We're doing 30 knots, just up to 31 now. But what we're going to do is gradually slow her down, and we're going to hold short, not at this first line, but the second line that's a bit further around the corner. Just make sure everything's all configured, ready to go, and then we will get out of here from Boscombe Down and head down towards Gibraltar. I'm so scared of the approach at Gibraltar. I'm so scared I'm going to get it wrong, because it's a visual approach. Like I say, I've just got to set up that we're going to be quite low down by the time we get there. That's the thing. I'm just going to make sure that I definitely lose enough height and lose enough speed by the time we need to. So I'm going to hold short here for just a sec, make sure everything's all ready. We've pretty much set everything. We just need to do our lights. We just need to put landing lights on, nose light to take off, runway turn off light comes on as well, I believe. Beacon, nav and logo. We're going to put strobe on anyway. That's pretty much everything sorted by the look of it. So, you ready? Ready to get out of here? We'll line up. We're not going to pause or hold or anything. We're just going to go straight onto the runway and power up. Runway 05. Now, like I say, I had FSLTL on, but I didn't realise quite how small Boscombe Down was, and that there wasn't going to be any other aircraft in the vicinity. But here we go, lining up. We're going to start the chronos on here. Going to bring it up to about 50% throttle. Let it line up. Look at the hump in the middle of the runway there. All looks good, let's go. We've got everything set as we wanted it down here on our PFD. 100 knots. Nice and tidy on that centre line. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Just going to follow the runway line. Cracking start. Lever will go into climb any second now. Look at that. Pretty steep climb. We're nearly at 20 degrees. Still gaining speed though, because the aircraft is a monster and it has incredible thrust. Lever into climb. Nose down a little bit. Level it out slightly. It's in open climb because obviously there's no restrictions, there's no set plan or anything. And what we're going to do is tell it to go direct to Capex. Come on. And then we're going to set the autopilot. We're also going to set the standard pressure, and it's going to carry on climbing up to 5,000 feet. Very tidy. Very, very tidy. Lovely view here of the countryside here in the south of the UK. We've told the aircraft to go up to 5,000 feet. I'll tell it to manage that. I'm happy with that. Good stuff. Right, so after takeoff we've had the gear up obviously. We can bring the flaps up just now. Packs are on, speed brakes need to be disarmed, that's down here. Nose light comes off. We also need to turn the runway turn off light off. Landing lights stay on until 10,000 feet, and so too do the seat belt signs. Aircraft slowing down now because we're getting to 5,000 feet. We're going to notch this up to 10,000 now, tell the aircraft to manage that climb, and we'll give you some beauty shots from outside the aircraft and inside the cabin. Okay, you can hear the aircraft decelerating there. We're now at 10,000 feet, so what we're going to do is plumb in 37,000, which is our cruising altitude today, and we're going to get all the way up to that. So punch that in, seatbelt signs and landing lights can come off now because we're going to exceed 10,000 feet. And let's get cracking on down to Gibraltar. What a fantastically clear day it is. This is on the live weather as well. It is absolutely beautiful. Aircraft will begin to climb now, I believe, just 200 feet a minute up at the moment. There we go, now she's climbing. Let's go on board and see what that sounds like from inside the cabin. I've also got my flight active at the moment on Volanta as well. Even though it doesn't really think that we're in the right aircraft, which is annoying. We're in GTTNA, which I think is supposed to now be... Hang on, I think I have to add that to my fleet or something, don't I? Aircraft, here we go. GTTNA. Add aircraft. Flipping heck. A20N. Create aircraft. Yes, so unfortunately, this aircraft has been well, I say unfortunately, it looks fantastic. This has been repainted in this livery, but this is the one I'm flying is basically the old one that was before it got resprayed, let's say. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous thing. And is that not added? Yes. We're in this one. No. Right. Christ's sake. There we go. Right, we're in that, but we're not in that livery, unfortunately. So our route is going to take us all the way over here. We're going to go through the Bay of Biscay, down to Spain, and here into Gibraltar, into Gib. We'll get up to our cruising altitude, and then we'll be able to sit back and relax and enjoy. We're about to reach our cruising altitude now, 36,500 feet currently. Still climbing up at about 1,000 feet a minute right now. You can see on the little blue arrow there we're about to hit our top of climb. But yeah, enjoying it so far. Tasty flight, great conditions this morning. Sometimes it is a bit more spicy when the conditions are crap and it's really cloudy and rainy, but it's lovely when you get to fly up here in the sort of glow and the haze of when it's really sunny. It's awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, Captain speaking. We've just reached our cruising altitude for the flight. As we begin to settle in, I do want to remind you to please keep your feet elbows clear from the aisle as the flight attendants will be coming through the cabin with galley cards shortly. Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating to the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Right, at this point we're just over the northern coast of Spain right now. Not quite sure if we can still see the coastline anywhere. If we hop back into the cabin we might be able to. Let's cycle through some of these. Yeah, you can just see the coast there. If you look on Volanta actually you'll see that we're just coming over the north of Spain right now and heading down over the entire country down towards Gibraltar. I was having a look in the MCDU at the plan page on here as well earlier. If I move that to 40 degrees, you'll see if I scroll through here it says that the top of descent is after Mocek or Mosek. I'm not quite sure that's going to be right, because if you look on the charts, Mosek is rather close to Gibraltar. So what we're going to start doing is descending at around Dopen, just give it a little bit more time, and then we'll basically just try and float down into Gibraltar. Even if we sit at 3,000 feet for a little bit, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I think it's better to play it safe there. I'd rather be low early than coming in too high. So yeah, I'm going to get it at Dopen. We're going to go for our top of descent, which is quite fitting actually, because it's just after a waypoint called TLD. It's almost saying top of descent. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to update at this point, but it's been a lovely cruise so far. We're about halfway through the flight at this point, and yeah, we'll get our descent planned in and everything. We'll do all the what's it called? What's the word? The conditions and everything. We'll put all of the information in for where we're going in a little bit once we've started that descent, and yeah, we'll get down to Gibraltar. Okay, we've just passed the waypoint Disco, so what I wanted to do now, because the next one is TLD and then Dopen, I want to start getting the destination info in. So we need to go down to here, into Perth, and then if we go to next phase there. So the QNH is 1014 in Gibraltar right now. The temperature is 26 degrees, and it's 200 at 8 when it comes to the winds. So 200 at 08. Don't know if you need to put the 0 in or not, but that's fine. What are the minimums going to be? Actually, that's something really important that we need to look at, because we need to get the information for the runway. But there's no ILS or anything. Okay, so we're just going to have to do radio minimums, which for some reason it won't let me. Eesh. Okay, well let's just do baro minimums of 200 feet. Can we not put radio in there? Is there no thing for it? No. VAP is 121, so we're going to be coming in really, really slowly. We're going to have it on open descent, but we're going to go down at 1,500 feet a minute down. So we're going to tell the aircraft to go to 3,000 feet. We're going to pull that when we get to the waypoint mentioned earlier on, which is Dopen. We're going to pull it, so you push the switch away to tell the aircraft, you manage this, you know where we're going, you know what we're doing. But then if you pull it, you're sort of saying, I'm taking control now. And then we're going to choose what the vertical speed will be. Probably going to go about 1,500 feet a minute down, I think. Just try and float the piggy down to the ground and give it some decent distance to do so. We can obviously increase that and decrease that as needs be. But yeah, we're doing alright here and cracking on, still over Spain, enjoying ourselves. And I think this has been really, really good fun so far. But like I say, clear conditions, so no dramas, no messing. I hope you're enjoying the video. We're just coming up on TLD now. Dopen is 15 miles away, so we're going to start our descent pretty soon. I'm going to pull this towards us and then mess with this to tell what the vertical speed's going to be. Like I say, 1,500 feet a minute down. It's almost time to try and get this right. I've got no idea what I'm doing, and I hope it's entertaining. Visual approach into Gibraltar, no sort of pre-available approach in terms of sim brief or anything like that. So I'm just going to have to try and figure this out, and this is going to be a bit of problem solving. So yeah, I hope I make something of this, and I hope it's good fun to watch. But yeah, it's almost time. I'm almost nervous for this. So we're getting to Dopen now, as you see. We're just about to hit that waypoint. So we're going to now pull the switch, tell it to go down to 3,000 feet, open descent has activated, and we're going to say down by 1500 feet a minute, please. And the throttles have gone to idle, so the aircraft has wound the throttle off. And the captain, I'm sure, will say that we've started our descent in just a moment. It's sort of automatically triggered by the fact that the aircraft starts going down. Now there's the profile, which is interesting. That's going to go way off the screen because it thinks that we should start descending at MOSEC, or just after MOSEC. I don't think that's right, because it seems like that's nowhere near enough distance. If you look at it on here, well, I don't know actually, I may have overdone it. I don't think MOSEC would have been enough. Why is it, whoa, no. I want this, please. Oh, right, you have to pull this as well, don't you? So you have to go... Yep. There you go, vertical speed 1500. There we go. Flipping out. I forgot that you had to pull that as well. So the aircraft is going to shallow out the descent now. You'll see that number come down until it gets to about there. We'll see how we get on. But again, this is part of the fun. You can play with stuff like this in Flight Sim, and that's what I love. So let's have some beauty shots. Some fantastic scenes over the left-hand side there with all the hills and everything. It's gorgeous, isn't it? I love flying over Spain. It's so bumpy and so much like, I mean, there's big dry brown patches, but there's a lot of greenery in places as well. It's a very interesting looking country to fly over. We will be heading further east into Europe at some point, I do promise, because I know that a lot of our flights have either been like Germany, Spain or France, sometimes Italy as well. We will be going further east to the likes of Hungary. I want to fly into Budapest at one point, I know, and I want to do some Wizz Air ops as well, because I have the Wizz Air A320neo. They're a long, long way away, so it may be that we do a sort of a step-by-step bit on the way back. As you've seen with my videos with my mate Dan as well, we're going to be stepping our way back up through the UK up towards Scotland, so we've got some more of those planned in the near future. And obviously if you want to charter a flight as well, there are parameters. You know, it's about 3 hours is my limit with doing these flights, and admittedly I have learned recently how to speed the sim up, so sometimes just to save a bit of time in the cruise, I will speed the sim up. You'll have noticed by now that I've done that a little bit today, just to save time, because if you can, there's no point sitting in cruise all that time. You know that the interesting bit is the going up and the coming down again. I'll still make it look pretty for you, but at the same time, if you want to charter a flight, there are parameters. Obviously it can't be an 8-hour flight, for example, otherwise I'll never get around to that. It'll take up a full day of mine. But you choose the airline, the aircraft. I'd prefer it if it was just the A320neo or the 737, because I will be chartering flights in that now as well. I'm going to add that to my website very soon. If you want to see me do one place to another, just let me know. It's going to be in a link in the description. Thanks again to Oz Austin as well for chartering this flight today. Really do appreciate it, mate. And I hope you're enjoying the resulting video. Just realised after all this time, I never closed the cockpit door. So we're still descending at the very shallow rate of 1500 feet a minute down, just floating the aircraft down at the moment. True airspeed is still 442 knots, and it's a gentle glide, I think it's safe to say. It's quite a fast glide, but a gentle one at that, and will hopefully be down far enough in time. You can see the south, no you can't, I was going to say you could see the south coast of Spain there, but no, it's way over there at the moment, so yeah, still some decent time to descend. I think we'll be absolutely fine. Does anyone know what that purple dot is? Because I don't. Still, going down past 15,000 feet shortly, and it's still on quite the lengthy descent. Is that the Rock of Gibraltar over there? I'm not sure. It's not a bad descent this so far. I'm going to shallow it out a little bit, you know, and we're going to go to vertical speed of 1,000 feet a minute down. The airspeed is dropping naturally. We had a really strong crosswind actually of over 50 knots at the cruise altitude as well, so we've had to fight against that. The aircraft's still pointing right a little bit, as you can see here. We're not quite perfectly parallel with that line. That's where the aircraft's pointing, and that's the direction we're going in. And it's still 41 knots, but it's more sort of towards us now, as it was completely across the aircraft earlier on. Yeah, you can see on here, look, it thinks we're going to be at 3,000 feet by Mar, and that's like 9 minutes before Ogro, so we can definitely shallow this descent out a little bit now, which is good. That's what we wanted. I'd rather be down low a little bit too early than come in too high. And obviously the aircraft will play with the restrictions. Underneath 10,000 feet you have to go below 250 knots or 250 knots and less. It should manage this alright, and then I've got to try and fly a visual approach and be a good boy. I'll have the auto throttle and everything on for that. I won't have the autopilot on. I'll get the aircraft to sort of line up ready, then I'll manage the turn and I'll line the thing up ready to land. There's not going to be an ILS or anything like that. It's just purely on visual. Tasty. Very tasty. We need to look at the procedure list as well, actually. I've not done that in quite a while. So landing lights and seatbelt signs obviously come on. Constraints needs to be on, which I was just messing with a minute ago. The Barrow is going to change to 1014. Engine mode is required. Minimum set. We've got Barrow minimums at 200. For landing then, we need to advise the cabin crew. Auto throttle, auto brake as requested, as required. So I'm going to have medium auto brakes just to make sure. Flaps are going to be full. Speed brakes need to be armed, and then landing gear down once we get onto the approach. We may need reversers as well, because it's a pretty short runway at Gibraltar, I'm sure. And then we need to look at where we're going to be parking. Oh wow, okay. So there's literally... now. There's no gates. That's weird, isn't it? Okay, well will we be on the south apron then, or what? I'm going to Google Maps this, bear with. Yeah, I thought it was right. It's on the civil apron. There's 4 gates there, effectively. I'm not quite sure how we're going to get GSX to do that. I've got scenery for Gibraltar as well. I sorted that out for today. We're going to have to figure something out when we get there, and hope the GSX will work in one way or another, but still. I'm excited to get into Gibraltar. I've never flown into there before. It's apparently very, very pretty, but it's a legendary airport for how difficult it is to fly into, so this will be one for the bucket list? Not quite for the bucket list. This is one for the CV. Right, we're approaching 10,000 feet now. Yeah, we are going to be very much at the necessary altitude in time. So, again, I'm going to just shallow out the descent at this point. We're going to go to 500 feet a minute down and see what difference that makes in the long run. But, yeah, keeps our speed up nice and high. But we're going to start going below 10,000 feet pretty soon. And then we will turn the landing lights back on, and the seatbelt signs, to be fair, we'll put on now, actually. We'll just get on with it now at this point. I know we put them on early and you'll get a telling off for that by certain things, but yeah, let's get prepared, shall we? Okay, we're at about 9,000 feet now. The aircraft has decelerated to 250 knots, as is the restriction below 10,000. We're going to start speeding this descent up a little bit, because I've just checked on this screen and it thinks that we're going to be at 6,500 feet at Mar. We do have a bit of time between then and Ogro though, so I think we'll be alright, but yeah, I've gone back up to, or back down to 800 feet a minute down. I'm really excited, but also very nervous for this. Very, very nervous. We're just literally floating down over Spain right now. This is a very chilled part of the flight. Great scenery, though. I love this. I know in places it doesn't render in full resolution, sure, but you know the image and the effect that it gives is just brilliant. Really brilliant. I love flying over Spain. Okay, it's flashing at us to go back out of standard pressure now, so we're going on QNH 1014. I'm pretty aware that that may be the Rock of Gibraltar over there. I think that's a mountain before it. Is it over there? I don't know. Not sure at this point. It's somewhere in the distance. It's about. We're now going to make a left turn at Mar. MAR. We're currently at 5,600 feet. Still doing 250 knots. There's the bottom of the descent, so we can probably shallow that out. See where that changes to. That little blue arrow. Yeah, it goes a little bit further away. But like I say, it's going to be a visual approach, so I need to manage how far down the aircraft goes once we get in. Look at this. This is pretty, isn't it? Wow. Very, very pretty. I'm actually a bit concerned about terrain here, you know. It's a really stupid thing to say, but I got a 2,500 call out from the radio readings not too long ago. That, to me, looks pretty ropey. Profile, this might be why. I didn't realise it was this hilly on this point. I have maybe buggered up big time here. Will we be alright over that? It's going to be close, isn't it? It's pretty scary though, isn't it? Jesus. Well, we'll maintain 4,000 at the minute. We're just over 4,000 feet.
2,500.
Yes, I know. The scenery's going to come at us quite quickly. So we'll start slowing Puppy down. I'm going to go for 200 knots. Why are the flaps not coming down? Hello? That's weird. The control's not doing anything. That's really strange. What? Okay, I think I fixed it. It's just... yeah. Put the parking brake on or off. That's how you check it still works. Looks like we're going to hit a hill. I'm scared, you know, that I've mucked up here. Because we're very much below what our profile should be. Do we need to skim over this? God, it's like that Innsbruck thing I did at that simulator all over again, where we aimed at the top of hills.
See the bright tree in the middle? I'm aiming for that.
Oh, I agree.
Yes, I know.
Yes, I know. Oh, this is going to be a beauty. That's nice.
I'm so sorry about this. I've obviously misjudged this.
2,500.
Yes, I know. Shut up.
2,500.
I get it, mate. So we're sort of going through this valley here to the right, and then we're going to approach the airfield. Look at this scenery, though. It's so cool. It's so lumpy around all of here. Yeah, the aircraft's just pooed itself because of the scenery, and now it's just gone, get above it. Okay, so we're at 200 knots. We're going to slow it down to 180. We're going to start turning right in just a minute. We could go flaps 2 pretty shortly. We're still a while away, though. We're still 30 miles away, so let's go back up to 200. Stay flaps 1, 200. Please turn. Yeah, the aircraft's going to compensate for it again, isn't it? No, not descent. Climb, please. Oh, bad pilot, Chaz. But these are the challenges of it, you know? These are the challenges of it. I hope it's entertaining. That is close. Oh, dear.
1,000.
Yep, I'm very sorry. Oh my god, look at how suddenly it drops off a cliff there. Wow, that's pretty. Okay, we're over the lumpy bit now, it's fine. Okay, we're over the lump. We're over the lump and bump. It's fine, the aircraft should start turning right any second now anyway. Okay, so turning right, heading towards the airfield now. We're aiming 227. Sorry, LXGB is at 227. We're basically aiming at the airport right now. It's pretty much straight in front of us, but we need to go out to the left a little bit. So what we're going to do is tell... oh my god, I forgot about that. We're going to tell the aircraft to go heading 180. We're going to make a left turn, and then we're going to try and get lined up with it, and then we're going to go in from there. So let's get this turn underway. We're going to go down and 90 degree it, basically, and come in at 270. The runway heading will be on the information here, actually. Oh, okay. Right, so maybe I should have looked at this. Pimos would have been a good way to start, and then go in from there. It's interesting, actually. They have you all coming from south rather than north. What is the runway heading? How do we find that out? Runways. Bearing, there we go, 268. We could have gone Pimos, but Pimos is sort of past it. It's a little bit below it if you're running it heading 268. Okay, just looking at the charts for a second, we're getting sort of alongside it now, so we really need to turn this head into heading 268. And to be fair, we can point the aircraft at it on here, so we can do all that. That's absolutely fine. We're going to bring the speed down to 180 knots. Aircraft will manage that. Gear is coming down. Really look like we were even moving on that last camera angle, did it? There you can see the runway, I believe. It's either that bit or that bit. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's coming into view a little bit better now. The rock is interesting. Okay, so our VAP, our approach speed, is much lower than what we're doing right now. We're doing 180 knots. We're currently 10 miles out, so we're going to tell this to slow the F down. And as we're dropping below 170 knots, we're going to go flaps to 3 and then flaps to full. We're then going to set the auto brakes to medium. We are going to arm the ground spoilers. We're going to alert the cabin crew that we are going to be landing any moment. Everything's all ready to go. ECAM's got no blue on it. Speed brakes need to be disarmed after landing. That's the next thing on the list. So we're going to take it out of autopilot. The aircraft is going to manage the speed, and we're going to try and aim at that. We're very high at the moment, it's safe to say. We're slightly off to the right hand side at the moment, but that's absolutely fine. We're going to keep on this sort of trajectory in a straight line and then just nudge it into the right. Got a very itchy moustache while I'm doing all this as well. We're dropping quite a bit of height. We're at 2,500 feet. There's a boat and low boat.
2,500.
Yes, thank you. We need to shallow out this descent though. I just wanted to lob it down a little bit. The aircraft's doing a great job at managing the speed. Just bringing the nose up a little bit. I'm just keeping an eye on what we're dropping here, 600 feet a minute. We're not too far out from landing. I don't want to turn to the right too late here, so I may just gradually swoop it round. We're at 2,000 feet. I'm going to start banking gently now to the right-hand side. I've got my hand on the throttles now. This is not a full procedure approach, obviously. Never done this before, so I'm making this all up on the spot. But like I say, I hope you've enjoyed this so far. Thank you again, Oz, for chartering this one. You've really put me to the test here, mate. Not quite sure what the pappies are saying. 4 white, so we're very high, so we'll nudge the nose down a bit. This looks cool, doesn't it? This looks really cool. Still got our approach speed, 1,000 feet. We're diving in, to be honest with you. The nose actually is only just below the horizon, so it's not that bad. We're not even at 5 degrees down. The speed has picked up. The speed has picked up a lot. Put some air brakes in. Speed brake's still out, it says. Coming in hot.
$50. 20. Retard. 5.
Oh, a bit of a sporty flare on that. Oh, I bounced. Going full reverse. And by reverse, I mean reverse, please. Wow. Okay. Reversers didn't want to play then, so when I put the throttles all the way back on my stick, it was almost like there was a few inches of it where, not even inches, a few millimeters where when you whack it all the way back, it doesn't think it's in reverse, it doesn't think it's on the axis. Wow. But we've stopped it. We've stopped the thing. Not my best landing ever, I have to say. No, I didn't mean to arm them. Okay. Welcome to Gibraltar, everybody. We'll head back down the apron. Need to pick all this back up, spoilers up, and there is the Rock of Gibraltar and all the ships on the right hand side. That is cool. That is really cool. We may have come in too hot and too steep there, but I think I recuperated quite well there to get that down on the ground. We'll see what GSX has got to say in terms of arrival gates. Ramp, 1 suitable parking. 1 ramp, GA large. Request follow me. There it is. Okay. I don't really like bringing that up, but I'd just rather know. I know that I was going left at the end, but still. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we're going left here. Is that a Jaguar? There's a Jaguar there. That is cool. I know that there used to be some Blackburn Buccaneers that flew out of Gibraltar, which was really cool. Where are we parking? Is it there? Ah, where are we parking? Where, no, hang on. I've just realised it said number 5, didn't it? So it's over on the right here. That's gate number 2. Apologies. Lovely scenery, though. I like this. It's great having proper scenery. Really does make the difference. I would give credit to whoever made this one, but I can't remember what the brand of it was. I'm really sorry. We need to have our taxi lights on, really, to be honest with you, but we've mucked up on doing all the lights. I always forget once I've landed to do all the lights. Hey, at least we're going to have some decent GSX for when we get here, so that makes me happy. Right then. Let's try and line this up, shall we? We're going in a little bit quick. We're going to be on the centre line. Nicely. Nicely. A little bit to the right. There's 2 of them for some reason. And bang. Ah, nearly. Nearly. But still, we're here. Let's have a look then for the shutdown list. So we want to have speed brakes disarmed, which they have been. TCAS goes to standby, that comes off as well. Predicted wind shear comes off. APU master switch, we need to start the APU actually. That's something that we should have done really when we got on the ground. Start and then bleed comes on. Anti-ice is required. Landing lights off. Nose lights taxi, which we've now turned off as we've turned in. Strobe light auto or off. Runway turn-offs were on, but now we turn them off again. And then for shutdown, we've put the parking brake on. Nose light comes off. Runway turn-offs off. APU bleed now comes on. Engine masters 1 and 2 off, and then the seatbelt signs come off. So let's switch these engines off and have a little listen. Good stuff. Okay, so now the APU will be on. Let's request some deboarding, shall we?
Deboarding requested.
I didn't put a GSX profile in for this place. That's something I always forget to do when I get new scenery, is get a GSX profile to match it. I also need to operate the stairs, don't I? As there's no jetways here. But yeah, this was Boscombe down to Gibraltar. A very difficult approach, but we made it work. And we're here on the ground now at Gibraltar in front of the gorgeous Rock of Gibraltar, which does some funky stuff sometimes when you're moving about. This guy loves his job down here, doesn't he?
Passenger's bus is coming.
Thank you very much. I really thoroughly enjoyed that one, and I hope you did too. Thanks again to Oz Austin for chartering that flight. Really do appreciate it, mate. And don't forget, you can charter flights as well. There's a link in the description to do so. Just make sure that there are parameters that are followed before you send the money in for it, and we'll have a good time. But thank you once again, everybody, for watching. It's been really good fun, and hopefully see you in the next episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Have a fantastic day. Oh, before I forget, no, we need to go on to... we're the second person to arrive here today, apparently. Let's have a look at the landing on Volanta. What was our landing rate? Because I think we bounced and hit it very hard. Minus 235. 1.12 G as well. Ooh, not fantastic. Oh well, it is what it is. Thanks once again for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon.